The chip shortage.
The computer chip shortage.
In the face of a global shortage.
Experiencing a computer chip shortage.
And right now there's a worldwide shortage of...
Yeah, we get it. There's a computer chip shortage sending prices for PC gaming hardware sky high. But what if there's a solution to play some games now on a budget? Hey guys, I'm Joe and welcome back to another video. Today we have a new episode of Benchmarked, where we find budget computers either used or new, and see how capable they are at playing modern games. Our last laptop featured was a used HP Pavilion Gaming, and it was a Ryzen 5 3550H with NVIDIA 1050 graphics. If you missed that one, check it out on my channel. Links will be in the description below. Today though, we are featuring a factory refurbished Lenovo ideaPad 3 with a Ryzen 5 4500U and integrated Vega graphics. We'll be doing a teardown to see what's happening on the inside, followed by gaming benchmarks. As usual, you can find timestamps below if you want to go directly to a particular section. By the way, if you like this sort of thing, why not subscribe? It's free and you can always change your mind later. Can this laptop tide some of you over until graphics card prices come back to sanity? Before we get into that though, let me tell you about this laptop. I picked up this laptop factory refurbished on eBay for $406. For port selections, on the right side, it has a multi-format SD media card reader and a combined audio jack. On the left side, it has the power port, there is a HDMI 2.0 port, a USB 2.0 Type A port, and two USB 3.2 Type A ports. On the inside, we have a 6-core AMD Ryzen 5 4500U with a max boost of 4.0 GHz. An integrated Radeon Vega graphics with 6 cores running at 1500 MHz. A total of 8GB DDR4 RAM running at 2666 MHz. More details on this when I do the teardown. A generous 512GB M.2 NVMe SSD, giving us more storage for games. A 15.6-inch 1080p matte 60Hz display, acceptable for 60 frames per second gaming, but not the greatest of color accuracy. 802.11ac Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.1, a full-size keyboard with numpad, and Windows 10 Home. To get this one open, we just need to pull the 10 screws holding on the back cover, then use a plastic pry tool to loosen the clips holding it in place. We can now see a majority of the components that are important to us after removing this back panel. We bought this one factory refurbished and it's pristine on the inside and out, so no cleanup was necessary. Looking at the components, we have a 512GB NVMe SSD under a thermal pad. There's no space for a regular 2.5-inch SATA drive, so any drive upgrades would have to be done by changing the NVMe drive, but it will accept up to a full-size M.2. For the memory configuration, there is 4GB of 2666 MHz DDR4 RAM soldered on the board, and a memory slot with a 4GB 3200 MHz stick installed. This gives us dual channel memory running at the lower 2666 MHz. It would have been nice if Lenovo had at least used 3200 MHz for the onboard memory. That would have given us 3200 MHz and a little more performance. It has a 45 Wh lithium ion battery that in my experience should give you about 4 to 5 hours of normal use. We are now done with the teardown, so let's close it up and do some gaming. First up, we have Tomb Raider. It's running at 1080p low settings with an average of 27 frames per second.
Bravo hasn't run into any more resistance along the way. But find the native. We need to get some answers.
Up next, we have Dirt 4. It's running at 1080p low settings with an average of 52 frames per second. Destiny 2 was set to 900p low settings and we're getting between 35 to 40 frames per second. Jedi Fallen Order had to be turned down to 768p medium settings, and we were getting an average of 29 frames per second.
Cal, you there?
Yeah. Good to hear your voice here.
I've located the holocron. Sending you the location now.
Got it. We're on the move.
FIFA 21 is usually a strong performer. We're running it at 1080p medium settings with 2 times anti-aliasing. Frames per second was at 65.
Let's hope we see a quick start from both teams. Set the tempo for the rest of the match.
Overwatch is another strong one, running at 1080p high settings with an average of 78 frames per second. PUBG was running at 1080p, but we had to turn it down to very low settings and the shadows at lowest, and we were getting an average of 63 frames per second. Fortnite was running at 1080p with the render mode set to performance, and we were getting 60 frames per second. Not sure why it was stuck at 60. It says VSync was off, but it might have been a recent update to the performance mode. NBA 2K21 is a new one, running at 1080p medium settings, VSync on, at 60 frames per second. I had to turn on VSync on this one because it was a bit choppy without it.
And for the Lakers, LeBron and Davis, the incredible forward pair. Contavious Caldwell-Pope is out there with Dennis Schroeder. And it's Drummond in at the 5, roaming the paint. And it's Drummond with the ball. He'll bring it up for the Los Angeles Lakers. Caldwell-Pope finds Davis. He gets it in there.
Rocket League was at 900p high quality at 40 frames per second. GTA 5 was at 1080p normal, DirectX 11 with anti-aliasing off. We were running the benchmark and we got 42 frames per second. We had to turn down Apex Legends to 768p, running it with a mix of low to medium settings, and we were getting an average of 42.
Warning.
Valorant was set to 1080p, low settings, anti-aliasing set to 2x, and it was running at 68 frames per second.
Embarrassing.
Lastly, we have Warzone, but no matter what I tried, I kept getting the dreaded dev error. It was a little better if I changed the VRAM settings in the BIOS from 512 megabytes to 2 gigabytes, but it eventually still errors out. The Lenovo IdeaPad with the Ryzen 5 4500U is a good purchase if you're in the market for a good laptop that is capable of gaming on a budget. It runs AAA games at 900 to 1080p at and above 30 frames per second with low to medium settings. However, some games like Warzone that require more VRAM will have some issues, but I think upgrading the RAM and increasing the VRAM might fix it. But then you'll lose the benefits of having dual channel memory. I'll probably troubleshoot this problem and give my results in another video. Let me know if you'd be interested in this. It runs lesser demanding titles at 1080p, 60 frames and over at medium to high settings. This laptop gave great performance for the price, and it has a few upgrade options if you require more storage or memory. Although I would have preferred 2 memory slots instead of the 1 slot with the onboard memory, and having a 2.5-inch bay would have been nice for more storage options. The port selection is plentiful and it has good build quality. And with that, this has been another episode of Benchmarked. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Leave a comment telling me what else you would like to see in these videos. I made a few changes based on your comments, so keep them coming. Subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of my next video. I'm Joe at Play. See you in the next one.